Okay, can you guys hear the background noise?
No,
I don't hear anything.
All right, send it in the private chat if you do. But Thomas, you're sitting there and you're talking about gaming, right? And we played Call of Duty once. We played some. I think I tried to get you to play Madden a couple of times, but I don't think we ever linked up with that.
So Madden has just pissed me off finally after like 23 years of playing it. I bought Madden 23 and I played it 4 times. This little bad boy here cost me $300.
Oh, no way.
This little scuff controller. Yeah.
So, I think I used to have the same one. Is it from like the Turtle or whatever it is?
No. That's the actual scuff. Like
it's called the
Pro
Scuff.
Elite. Yeah.
Do you have the toggles on the back?
4.
Yeah. I have the toggles too.
Yeah. So like I'm trying to get in it. I did an NFL Red Zone stream and a live Ravens reaction stream on Sunday, and it went really well. I think people wanted me to do it again. I might do it again.
Yeah, you need to do that again because that was pretty cool. That was very cool.
It was pretty lit. Like we had some interesting stuff come up on the stream, watching the game, watching the absolute collapse happen in front of me.
That was so bad, dude.
Let me tell you, my censor button got work.
Is it
Greg
broke?
Roman, man. No, it's kinda, but it's
it's definitely got a wear hole in it.
Yeah, I mean, all season.
Wear hole. That just sounds gnarly. Like a wear hole. Who says that? That needs a sensor right there. We need a sensor button for that one. Thomas, you have your sensor button hooked up? A wear hole? Oh man! Yeah. All right, on that note, let's go ahead and kick off this show. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
This is Fantasy Intervention. Now here to intervene with your fantasy life, Shane Manila, Jakob Sanderson, and Chase Vernon.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Don't you start, Jay. Don't you start. I thought I was going to have a clean intro.
Forgot.
I thought it was going to be
clean. Am I Shane now? Do I get to be Shane? Where the fuck is the show sheet, Chase? I didn't see it.
Into Fantasy Intervention, everybody. We are here to kick it off with you guys to answer your questions. So please get those questions in the chat. We're here to discuss this playoff push for fantasy football this week. So yes, get excited. Get excited. Unfortunately, Shane is out on a date with some dude, and then Jakob is studying for his midterms to become a lawyer. So I had to bring in Thomas Tipple to handle both their roles. Welcome on in, Thomas Tipple. You can find him on Twitter at Thomas Tipple FF. And then, of course, my normal regular host takes care of the show sheet, takes care of the organization of everything at FantasyJ77 on Twitter. And you guys can find me over there at FF_intervention. Guys, we have a ton of stuff to talk about today. We have a ton of news breaking out. We have players returning from injuries. It is about to be wild. So when it comes to the Week 13 storylines, and I'm going to start out with you, Jay, is there something that interests you more than any other storyline on the slate?
I guess this is Deshaun Watson returning, and I don't want to be on it too long because of all the extracurricular stuff that he's been on. But, that's probably the biggest thing going into the week. A lot of people are jumping on that bandwagon. They're going to go ahead and start him and that sort of thing. I don't know if I'm able or willing to start him now he's going to Houston, revenge game, whatever you want to call it. It's still week 1 for him, and it's been almost 2 full years since he's been into a football game, a live football game. And this is week 13. If you're pushing all your chips in right now for Deshaun Watson, pushing on this playoff push that you're trying to make, man, I feel bad. You've got to have some better option than having Deshaun Watson, in my opinion.
Well, I do want to keep in mind, I do want to put out there that Deshaun Watson does a lot of work with his legs. So as we see him possibly rusty at the quarterback position, because Jacob Brissett has been brilliant for Amari Cooper. He's been very good for Donovan Peoples-Jones. Njoku, when Njoku's healthy, is a solid play. But Deshaun Watson comes in, he could be rusty and he could take rushing, or he could take opportunities away, he could take passing work away. And then also we have a possibility that he could take work away from Nick Chubb. So I'm going to go to Thomas on this. Like, are you feeling good about the Browns offense? You feeling better about the Browns offense as you push for the playoffs? Not just Deshaun Watson. I'm talking about the Browns offense as a whole.
Not this week, because I think I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt get like over 45 carries combined easy and just put this game away. But I'm worried about Amari Cooper because he's played all year with Jacoby Brissett. I mean, repetitions matter. Repetitions matter a lot. And I understand that like the simplest, most basic quarterback can get Amari Cooper the ball, but he's also already an inconsistent fantasy asset. So
only when he's away, he's pretty consistent when he's home.
I was just fixing to say, his home away splits are drastically different too.
I totally get that.
And we can't even say the game up against the Bills, right? Because they were at a neutral site, which was the craziest part about that. They were at a neutral site, so you can't even include Amari Cooper being like away from home at that point because they were neutral.
Amari Cooper's 1-for-1 in neutral site games. They need to push for that more often, and that's fine. But I'm concerned that the connection may not be there. It has been a while, and they just may not need to use them. You got one of the best running backs in the league against Houston. It's Houston. Like this matchup was meant for Nick Chubb. So I don't think they're really going to have to use him. If he throws the ball more than 25 times, I'd be shocked. But for the rest of the playoff push, yeah, I'm going to play him. Because like what Chase just said, if he provides anything with the legs, you're going to go play. You're going to play Taylor Heineke.
All right, so is this a good or bad thing for, and I just want one word answers. Good or bad thing for Amari Cooper?
Bad. Wait, for this week?
No, for the rest of the season.
Oh, good.
Well, yeah, rest of the season, yeah, good. But yeah,
Donovan
this week
Peoples-Jones.
it's going to be bad.
Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Probably. I'm going to say good rest of the season.
No, bad.
Okay, and Njoku.
Good.
Sure. I'm not sure. I can't speak on Njoku. Watson's played with like the worst tight ends ever throughout his career, so I don't know.
All right, Nick Chubb.
It's the same thing. I'll just say it's the same thing with Tom Brady. We thought Tom Brady like loved tight ends. No, he loved Gronk. So like great quarterbacks don't necessarily produce great fantasy tight ends. So I don't know. We're gonna see.
All right, I actually think it's bad for Njoku. I think it's bad for Nick Chubb. I think it's great for Donovan Peoples-Jones. Great for Amari Cooper. All right, let's go ahead and move on to actually, Thomas, let's go to yours. What's the biggest Week 13 news that you're stoked about, that you can't wait to talk about, that you think is very interesting for Week 13 and possibly beyond?
So I want to look at DeAndre Swift's usage. So this is what I'm interested to see versus Jacksonville, who quite clearly can be run on, right? Even though the Ravens decided not to do that last week, which really upset me. But they can be run on. I want to see. He seems healthy-ish. I don't think this Jameson Williams thing is like as concrete as people might think. He had a wheel route at the end of that game or towards the end of that game where he was wide open and he just couldn't lift his arms up properly to catch the ball, but they still peppered him with targets towards the end of the game when they needed to catch up. So he's still getting more than like basic screens and dump offs. He's running elite type routes out of the backfield, but they're just using Jameson Williams for pretty much everything else. I want to see what the splits are in the red zone this week. That is what I am excited. If he is getting healthier and healthier, if his snaps do go up and up, it's really going to come down to red zone usage. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, and real quick, by the way, I do see these questions coming in the chat, in the comments. We are going to get to that as soon as we finish out with this last segment, or this last piece to this segment. But Thomas, DeAndre Swift is a really interesting spot because he hasn't been utilized, but this week he's healthy, he's ready to rock and roll. It's somewhat of a decent matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Are you somebody that thinks that DeAndre Swift could be a top 15 running back for the rest of the season, top 20 running back for the rest of the season, top 36. Like, are we pushing him outside the top 20 for the rest of the season, or will he seize a role because he still saw those 8 targets? He still had 3 or 4 receptions. They just were shitty like targets, so he didn't have an opportunity. I don't remember the last time that I saw a running back get 8 targets and have less than 5 receptions, much less I think either 3 or 4.
Yeah, so for me, even if you look at his last couple games, RB 31, 19, 30, 26, 18, 39, his first 2 games were electric. And outside of that, he's been barely an RB2. So I think you have to push him outside of the top 20. But that's why this week is so sexy. High implied point total, super high. Detroit at home, opportunity. If he is getting a little bit healthier, then he can cash. Jamal Williams is coming in and doing something super weird. I feel like they're trying to have him set records, just letting him run it in at the 1, but that's it. That's pretty much where all of his touchdowns are coming from, is on the 1. So this week might be an opportunity for him to score from outside of that range and maybe put up a good game. But I think you're right. I think we've got to start pushing him way down. It's like I'd rather play Jeff Wilson territory right now.
Hey, in the Fantasy Intervention Dynasty League, I traded Breece Hall away for DeAndre Swift before the injury happened because I had so much faith in Swift. But right now, he's making me nervous. All right, I'm going to talk real quick about Jamar Chase, and we'll get to y'all's questions. Jamar Chase is coming back this week. He's likely to play. Last week he could have played, but they probably weren't going to. They never really had an intention. They just wanted the defense to game plan for it. Now he comes back, and we have some guys who could take collateral damage. And those guys are Joe Mixon, those guys are T. Higgins, and those guys are Tyler Boyd potentially. Now, the weirdest part about Tyler Boyd is after Jamar Chase ended up getting hurt, Tyler Boyd actually had a worse outcome. He was significantly worse. He only gave you 1 startable week, I believe, maybe 2, out of the 4 weeks that Jamar Chase was gone. Meanwhile, T. Higgins thrived. T. Higgins had a rough start to the Jamar Chase injury, but that's because Joe Mixon was such an absolute monster. But T. Higgins the past 2 weeks ended up having over 100 yards in each game. I believe had a touchdown in each game and pretty much dominated the wide receiver position. And that's what we saw from T. Higgins last year when Jamar Chase missed time, right? And that's why all the bookies this past year were like, oh man, T. Higgins was borderline wide receiver 1, he was borderline leading the league in receiving yards. They were giving him 50-1 odds to lead the league in receiving yards again this year. And I'm like, well, unfortunately, that was when Jamar Chase missed that time. Or I believe it was T. Higgins. Either way, Tyler Boyd ended up improving a little bit in a per game basis because it was a 4-game sample size, but overall he had better overall games. He saw more targets. He ended up seeing more touchdowns as a whole. He ended up getting a just as much of a target share as he did when Jamar Chase missed time. I like the idea of rostering Tyler Boyd moving forward. The one that makes me nervous here is Joe Mixon, who has been inefficient. And if they decide to go back to the passing game as a whole, I don't see Joe Mixon getting enough volume to be a fantasy asset for the playoffs. How does that make you feel, guys? Because I'm sitting here telling you that a guy that just dominated the league back a few weeks ago might not be an option to play in the fantasy playoffs. How does that make you feel?
You're playing Joe Mixon. Chase, I think look, you ever play with the Stretch Armstrong, right? As a kid, and you lashed him on something and stretched. That's how far you're reaching for this.
I am not reaching.
You play a running back in a good offense, Chase. This isn't hard math. Okay, we're not look, as Jamie said, Jacob looks and sounds a lot like Thomas Tipple today. Look, that is true. I may not have Jacob's advanced intellect. Okay, I am a mere blue collar worker, but I know that you play a good running back in a good offense. What is he going to do? You got to play him. You have to. He was still receiving targets. He was still getting targets prior to Chase's injury. He was still fantasy viable, just not efficient. I don't care about efficiency. I care about opportunity. He's going to get it. It's going to happen.
I mean, honestly, his schedule was just cake, though. He was playing cake teams for the most part. He played the Cowboys, winning team, right? He played the Jets, winning team. Regardless, they ended up dominating that game, but he played the Jets, right? He played the Dolphins, winning team. They dominated that one. They played the Bengals, or they played the Ravens, excuse me, and they ended up losing that game. But the Ravens are actually a good team, like I mentioned. Outside of that, I mean, the Saints aren't good. The Falcons aren't good. The Browns without without Deshaun Watson are not good. The Panthers aren't good. He faced a cake schedule for the majority of the season. The remaining schedule in the season is the Chiefs, which you can run on, right? But if they need to play, if they get into a shootout where the Bengals go down, you're talking about a team that's going to need to pass. So you have the Chiefs, you have the Browns with Deshaun Watson. If he starts clicking, everything's going to be on fire. You have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a playoff push. You have the Patriots, who've been pretty good on the season and are very good up against running backs. And you have the Bills, who are a dominant defense in the fantasy championship. I don't like Joe Mixon moving forward. I don't. Maybe up against the Chiefs, but his efficiency's been so terrible. Why do you want to even run up against the Chiefs? I mean, he's going to have to see volume, and the Chiefs are going to be up.
But I don't care. Being up is good because they'll pass him the ball.
I know. I'm saying the Chiefs are going to be up. Jay, what you got?
That's good. Mixon will get past the ball.
No, stop.
Listen, I'm not a Joe Mixon fan, but here's how I look at this: the opportunities are going to be there because of Chase and T. Higgins. You've got two wide receiver ones. Could be wide receiver one on just about any other team out there. So he's going to get opportunity. I mean, you drafted this running back high as you did, probably third, fourth round, somewhere in that range. You're definitely going to start him. He's not a first round pick, but who are your options to start over top of him? The running back landscape is it's almost as bad as the tight end landscape. So I think you kind of have to start him because he's going to get the opportunities. I'm going to agree. I don't want to do this on air. I would never do this on air and agree with Jacob and his locks. But since Jacob cut his locks tonight, I'm going to agree with Jacob.
AKA Thomas Tipple.
The man has a 14% target share at the running back position. Like, that's what you want that. You want that in a good offense. He has 35 red zone touches. Like, you're just going to sit that? You're just going to be like, you know what? Look, Mixon, I understand. Look, I get you. 35 red zone touches is really good.
Write it down.
14% target share. You know what? That's fine. Sit down. You're not going to do that.
Jamar Chase is coming back.
That's good. That's the point. The other side of that coin is now you have two wide receivers out there.
Oh my God.
If they start running, if they start passing the ball like they
should
be passing the ball, now go
play. I want to take this man running back efficiency and play him on a bad offense because screw a bad efficient running back on a good offense. I don't want that.
Damian Pierce. All right,
you're drunk.
Let's go ahead. Stop it. Let's go ahead and let's answer some of these questions. We have Roger in here asking. He's in a tough wide receiver spot. He has DeAndre Hopkins on a bye week. 10-man, full PPR. Pick one. Do I go Allen Lazard, Zay Jones, Jerry Jeudy? And we talk about this every week, guys. Like, I love answering the starter sit questions. However, with us having very little information to start out the week, like such as who's going to play quarterback for the Packers, like that could change the answer significantly. So what I tell you all to do is to come back on Sundays. We do a starter sit show, youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Once again, that's youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Make sure you subscribe or go over to fantasy football discussion over there on Facebook, and go ahead and follow us on Facebook. That way you'll get the notification that we go live at 11:30 to answer your starter sit questions. We get to every single one. We don't stop until we're done. We do every single possible question. So I will do our best to be able to decide who we want to play in this role, but it could change. Is Jerry Jeudy, is he likely to play? Have you guys got news on that?
I don't want to play him even if he does.
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. You don't want to play anybody in that offense right now, do you?
All right. So which one are you going with then, Jay?
I mean, it's Allen Lazard for me. And here's why. Because he's going to get targets. Zay Jones and you got Christian Kirk. You never know which one of those are going to get the targets that given week. So give me Allen Lazard may only get 6 targets, but he's going to catch 4 of them. So give me that over the possibility of Zay Jones going over all game.
Thomas, what you got?
I'm playing Zay Jones.
All right.
Again, look at the over/under on that game, and Zay Jones is getting nothing but targets. So I want the most explosive possibility, and to me, that's Zay Jones. If Zay Jones gets 10 Trevor Lawrence targets, I'll take that in that game. I want to look at the point total, the implied point total, and opportunity, and those two things meet up there For me, I'm going to play. You got injured Rodgers potentially or injured Judy on a bad offense. I will take Zay.
For me, it's going to be Zay Jones as well. Like you said, the implied point total right now, we don't know enough about the Lazard situation and the Jerry Jeudy situation. I do somewhat like Jerry Jeudy to an extent. There has to be something that breaks there. There has to be something that breaks. But the Chicago Bears have actually been very good up against wide receivers on the outside. Where they've suffered and given up the most amount of yardage is out of the slot. Actually, let me go through this real quick. For the Bears this year, their top producing wide receiver has been Garrett Wilson, who worked out the slot to an extent. If not, Elijah Moore was in the slot, and he succeeded as well. Did fine, 2 for 64 and a touchdown. Then we have Drake London, who plays a very similar role to Allen Lazard. Ended up having 1 catch for 2 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown beat him in the slot. We had Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill both beat him out of the slot. CeeDee Lamb beat him out of the slot. Jakob Myers beat him out of the slot. Like it's something as to where you want to play the slot receiver up against the Bears. You pretty much don't want to play any other receiver against the Bears. I'll go ahead and fade Allen Lazard. I do think he has an okay game, but I'll take Zay Jones in the high point total for right now. It might be completely different when you come to me on Sunday morning at 11:30. All right, we have Treylon Burks or Nika Collins, and then Tua and Danny Dimes. Do we want to play Tua up against San Francisco?
Yeah, I would. I would.
San Francisco's actually had a beat up secondary. Unfortunately, they lost Jason Ferrett a few weeks ago. They've had guys in and out of the lineup. They have a lot of guys hurt, right? You know, I was checking the injury report, and it just seemed like they were just getting healthy, and then their secondary started to fall apart. So teams can't run on them. Jeff Wilson's probably not going to be able to move on them. The thing that I worry about is we have an offensive coordinator who is brilliant over there for the Dolphins, but Shanahan knows. Shanahan knows, right? This defense should know exactly what they're going to face. This, for me, actually, the game could end up hitting an under. It could be an offensive explosion. I don't expect that. I expect an under with 2 teams, mainly the 49ers that are beat up. I'm concerned about it, but I don't want to run out Danny Dimes over Tua. I can't do that. I'm going to go ahead and play Tua for the quarterback position, and I'm playing Treylon Burks because you can't talk me into benching him right now.
Yeah, last week Vanilla Vic was more vanilla than Vic, so the rushing is like concerning if he's not doing it consistently. And I don't care if Shanahan knows what's coming. Go stop Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Go for it. The whole league all year has known what's coming. 6,000 crossing routes and a couple of deep shots. And they're just like, don't care, doing it. Tua's been on fire. QB 11, 1, 4, 3, and then 18. That's still good enough to provide you upside during the week. I'm playing Tua, and I just don't want to play Nico Collins with Kyle Allen.
Well, and I'm going to agree with both of these on this because I'm going to take Treylon Burks and I'm going to take Tua. And the reason I'm going to take Tua is exactly what Thomas just said, but also because, you know, San Francisco is a great defense against the run, but they're beat up in the back end. And you've got 2 of probably the top 15, if not top 10 wide receivers running routes out there. I think it's going to be a bad day for Jeff Wilson.
Hey, and by the way, Danny Dimes is going to run the ball more. Mike Kafka has been talking about how teams have been great up against Fenny, but we've seen an average of 7 rushing attempts per game, whether it's a scramble or design run. I think it's like 3.5 on each for Danny Dimes. Sure, last week he didn't do it, but it was the defense that did that. Mike Kafka said that he needs to get more out of his quarterback in terms of running because they don't have any wide receivers. When your wide receiver is Richie James, your top wide receiver is Richie James, there's a problem.
See, he's only rushed for 50 more than 50 yards twice since week 5. So that's concerning for me. So I hope Daniel Jones does because he was a favorite for me in a lot of my super flex spots. And
he's also won me a lot of money in the rushing Thomas, for the overs.
Look at the same weeks with Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley hasn't rushed for a ton either. So
yeah.
Just for the record as well, Daniel Jones did have, I think, 3 rushing attempts by halftime because I thought I had that in the bag. It was 5.5 was the over-under, on rushing attempts. He had 3 by halftime. He didn't have a single rushing attempt after halftime. So obviously the defense made an adjustment because they were getting beat by the run from Daniel Jones. So that is something to keep an eye on, whether it was play calling or just the defense putting a spy on him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Patrick, what's going on, man? He said he grabbed Watson in 2 leagues for this moment. We got one more question. Let's hop back on to the next segment. 10-man, full PPR. Next, need 2 wide receivers and a flex. Currently, I have Mike Evans, Debo, at wide receiver, and Miles Sanders in the flex. Available on my bench: Jeff Wilson Jr., Jacob Myers, Rashad White, and Latavius Murray. Would you guys switch any of these guys out? Honestly, I feel like you're on the right path. The only one that I would consider is Rashad White for Sanders. But I mean, I still would probably take Miles Sanders over Rashad White.
Yep. I would. This is my homerism coming out, but I'm taking Rashad White over Sanders. And I'll explain more in detail later on. But Rashad White is getting every opportunity to take over this backfield.
Are you changing your answer if Leonard Fournette plays?
No.
Okay. That's a tough defense. Now they're facing everybody healthy, right? The Saints have come back healthy and somewhat strong. So I'm interested in that. I mean, they kept 49ers to 13 points, although they didn't score anything. They still kept the 49ers to 13 points.
Playing Rashad White's going to win you one of those. Okay. One of these beauties. All right.
Wait, what is that?
That would be a championship ring from one Trophy Smack.
Trophies? Like these things right here, these rings behind me?
See
all
that
these
right
rings
there?
that I have
Oh,
accumulated, and then this
beautiful.
trophy,
yeah,
and that belt.
Rashad
Oh,
White.
and that belt too. Oh,
yeah, Rashad White, right here.
This belt.
Oh, what's that? Oh, really? You too? Oh my god!
I got a bunch of stuff.
Oh
Y'all
my
are,
god!
Wait, y'all are twinsing tonight.
Oh yeah,
I've got I got belts on belts on belts.
It's because we make smart decisions like benching Miles Sanders for Rashad White. I mean,
that's what we do.
That's why you have to do it. I mean, we're men of the people.
Oh
yeah,
my
Rashad
god!
White's the play right there, and for the rest of the season, by the way.
That's $1 million ad promo for you there, Chase. You're welcome.
So I will say, by the way, I didn't get my 2 cents just because I was still looking it up. I will play Rashad White over Miles Sanders up against the Titans because the Titans have a dominant defensive front seven. I think they're going to pass a ton. But if you guys want to go win yourself a championship, if you guys actually want to go show off your trophies to your league, right? If you want to impress that girlfriend that you bring home from the bar and you want her to see your fantasy championship trophy, you got to go to TrophySmack.com. Once again, that's TrophySmack.com. Use promo code CIRCLE. When you use promo code CIRCLE, you will actually get the choice of a loser award to put on. Like there's a toilet bowl, right? That guy that failed to bring the girl home and you got to bring her home. And she was so impressed by your trophy, you ended up, not going to the park. You could actually put that toilet bowl over the loser guy's neck because you'll get it for free if you purchase a trophy or a belt. That's right. You can get any loser award for free if you use promo code CIRCLE and you purchase a trophy or a belt, or you can get a championship ring like we have to add to your collection.
I
Go
just
to
imagine
TrophySmack.com, use promo code CIRCLE.
So I thought you're done. I could just imagine you was like, "Hey, how you doing? You like a winner? Pow, right there, like that. I got more back home. You want to see them?
You can get one of those for free. All you have to do is use promo code CIRCLE.
And now we know why Shane is on a date.
Yeah, yeah. He went boom.
No,
that's it.
No rings.
Well, forget about it. You don't
He
need
keeps
nothing
striking
else.
out. He's got the losers
Forget
playing
about
around his.
He won't now. He just needs the right bling. Forget about it.
I love it. All right, we will get back to your questions once again. I do see them in the chat. Thank you guys for bringing in your questions. Let's go ahead and hop on to our next segment, which is discussing some of our questions that we've had throughout the week and also talking about some of the highlights, such as Elijah Mitchell, right? So I put this.
How's
tweet
that
up
a
there.
highlight?
I'm sorry, Elijah Moore. I said Elijah
Thank
Mitchell.
you.
Elijah Moore.
Oh my
No,
god!
not Elijah Mitchell. We expect Elijah Mitchell to get hurt. He can't play a full season. So,
all right. The cheap shots to Elijah Mitchell. That's 2 now. All right, that's not.
All right. So here's the thing. You guys follow me on Twitter. You can go over there to FF_intervention on Twitter. You can see this tweet that I just put up where I was looking at Elijah Moore and I was looking at his splits with Mike White. And I'm gonna go ahead and read this off to you just so I can go ahead and make sure I get it right. Elijah Moore with Mike White has 20 targets, 9.9 yards per attempt, a 10% touchdown rate, 8 first downs on 12 receptions with a 60% completion rate. With Zach Wilson, 56 targets, so 36 more targets, 5.1 yards per attempt, a 1.8% touchdown rate, so almost 8% less, 13 first downs on 25 targets, and a 44% completion rate. Mike White's a smart player, right? Mike White targets good players. And unfortunately, we drafted Elijah Moore to be a stud, and he just hasn't had the opportunity because he doesn't have the chemistry. It was really funny if you ever saw the report. Did you guys ever see the interview where somebody asked like what it's like with the chemistry with Zach Wilson? And he goes,
the ball, so.
I don't know. I don't get the ball, so I don't have chemistry with him. I don't even know.
Did you Did you see right after that where he was talking about being the ball? I've had a conversation. And the
No,
ball
it's
still
not.
loves me, and I still love the ball. And we discussed this like 2 weeks ago, and now the ball wants to be my friend again.
That's
He's
amazing.
such a diva. I love it.
Hey, the thing
It's
is
great.
he's actually funny, like, and he's intelligent, like he knows how to play football and he understands football. He just doesn't see the opportunity with Zach Wilson. Zach
He's
Wilson
from
hasn't seen him.
He's from SEC country. Of course, he's smart and brilliant and a great damn player.
Oh my God! So, what do we do with wide receivers moving forward with Mike White on the Jets?
Can I just point out, like Mike White might like Elijah Moore, but the Jets may not. He still had his second lowest snap share of the season. His second lowest snap share of the season. He only ran 12 routes. He had 2 catches. One of them was a phenomenal touchdown, but Mike White might like Elijah Moore. The Jets may not still. So I don't know what to do. Until his snaps go up, you have to sit him. You have to. His snaps have to go up. It has to. Like, that's just plain and simple. We all want Elijah Moore to be good. I even acquired him. I traded Tyreek Hill for 2 firsts and Elijah Moore. I want him as a throw-in because maybe. But until we see something, doesn't matter if it's Mike White, Joe Flacco, anybody, the ghost of Vinny Testaverde, doesn't matter. He still has to get on the field more.
Well, we have seen this book written last year, right? So this last week he was 3 touchdowns, 315 yards. Well, week 8 last year, 3 touchdowns, 405. He also had 2 picks in that game. The very next week in week 9, 1 touchdown. The following week, 0 touchdowns, 4 picks. Now, granted, I will give Mike White, he's got a better
Here's a
team
rookie,
around
right?
him. It doesn't matter. Everybody's bouncing because of this dude just all of a sudden in this offense threw 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Okay. He did this last year. Now, I'll give you, like I said, he's got a better team around him, but I'm good missing out on him. But, man, that being said, Wilson, Moore, they do give him a boost, but, man, I just can't trust that he's going to actually continue this path, of, even if it's 2 touchdowns and 260, I just don't know that that's going to happen with Elijah Moore, the diva that he is.
All right. Thomas, you in the same boat?
No, I'm still acquiring. Like I'm acquiring, and I'm hoping. I'm cautiously optimistic, but he's got to see the field. If he's getting Denzel Mims, we're gonna know.
All right, so let's go on to this. Is Hurts a QB1? Sorry, Jay, you put this in the chat. You said, is Hurts QB1 Monday night over 100 rushing yards?
Okay, so when I put this in there, is he QB1?
Is he the top quarterback in the league?
Correct.
Is he over anybody else? Like, so for fantasy purposes, like, I don't think anybody's going to be benching Hurts, right? So I don't want to spend too much time on this just because they're playing the Titans, which is one of the worst secondaries in the league. I think for the rest of the season, like, there's no way that I'm not going to play in Hurts. What concerns me now is his wide receivers, because Devonta Smith has seen over 8 targets in 3 of the past 4 games or 4 of the past 5 games. Goddard's been out, and the offense seems to be suffering somewhat without Goddard actually there. So are we concerned about the Philadelphia offense or any position on Philadelphia moving forward? Or are you concerned about Miles Sanders? Are you concerned about Devonta Smith? Are you concerned about, well, probably not, but A.J. Brown? Like, is there anybody that you're concerned about?
I'm not concerned about the Philly offense. I'm concerned about the Philly passing game. Okay. Because even Miles Sanders said it the other day. When Jalen Hurts went out there and threw up 102, 103 yards, whatever it was in the first quarter, ended the game with 154, 155 yards rushing, Jalen Hurts opened up the other rushing members, where you had the Miles Sanders, you had the Kenneth Gainwells, you had those guys, because everybody's worried about what is Hurts going to do. Is he going to throw it? Is he going to run it? Whatever he's doing. Nobody cared about what A.J. Brown or what Devontae Smith were doing at that point, because you had to worry about Jalen Hurts.
All right, I'm going to go to Thomas on this next one real quick. Thomas, you have Rodgers, right? You have Aaron Rodgers. If he
Not
plays
in any league that I have, no.
Are you playing Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, I know. I mean, yes, that pretty much answers the whole entire question. If you have Aaron Rodgers, are you dropping him, in redraft leagues? Or are you getting rid of him? Even in 2 quarterback leagues, like, are you benching him? Like, what are you doing?
You don't get rid of him in any 2 quarterback leagues, but let me tell you, in a 1 quarterback league, I'll say it loud. Yeet! He's gone. He's so far gone. He's gone. I didn't want to play him to begin with. His upside comes from throwing 5 touchdowns on 7 receptions to a single receiver, or Aaron Jones being a god. I think he's washed. Like Big Billy FF said on the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast, Aaron Rodgers is washed like a hamburger cooked in the dryer. He's washed. He's done. He's rubbery. He's toast.
Who cooks hamburgers in the dryer?
That's the point.
Oh my God, that's brutal. All right. Like, I've never heard of that one, but go on.
I thought that was going to be a Russell Wilson tweet, but okay, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers still.
Nah, man, he's
feeling
just
dangerous.
He's hurt. He's inconsistent.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's ride Aaron Rodgers to the waiver wire. That's where he should be.
All right, we have the rookie over there, Bell, who has disappointed thus far. Is Bell relevant over there for Deshaun Watson? We are hopping back to this question, so please get your questions in the chat. I know we have a bunch of them to answer, but go ahead and give them in the chat. Are we doing anything with Bell, or do we need to see something first? Like, are you trying to pick him up with Deshaun Watson? Are you trying to squeeze him in the lineups? Like, even if it's a deep league, like, let me think of an example. Paris Campbell or David Bell?
Paris Campbell.
All right. What about Donovan Peoples-Jones or David Bell?
Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah, I think anybody you give us right now, until we see it on the field with Deshaun Watson, I mean, he's still a rookie. We didn't see a ton of it, with Brissett back there. So I think it's just about anybody. Oh, Thomas has got somebody, I think.
I'll say this. In the last 3 weeks, 5 targets, 6 targets. So
yeah, he's seen them. He's seen the targets. He's been involved.
He's not dust. Like, he's not. He's not.
Romeo Doubs in redraft. Romeo Doubs or David Bell?
Who's the quarterback in Green Bay?
We don't know yet. I'm asking for that question particularly.
I think that's a pigeonhole question. Like, I think that's a throw yourself off the side of a building question. But
yeah,
Dobbs,
but for deeper leagues,
because he's done something, I would say Dobbs. But again, 5 targets, 6 targets, pretty good. So he's not like fading away back to the future style, but he's kind of coming back. We'll see.
All right. Let's hop on to our next question. We have Mo Diesel in the chat. He said, start 1 flex, have PPR, must win to make the playoffs. Mike Evans or Sutton, Lawrence or Cousins. Once again, Mo Diesel, I don't like answering say questions as much, but we will do it for you. Please check back with us in the chat. Check back with us on youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Once again, that's youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Check back with us on 11:30, right? Yeah, 11:30 on Sundays, and we will have a more accurate answer for you. However, at this point, I hate Mike Evans up against Lattimore. I think that's a massive, massive issue every single time they play. And Lattimore has certain guys where he has their number. Evans is one of them. I'd rather play Sutton.
Yeah. Like T.Y. Hilton versus the Texans is like a lock. So is Mike Evans putting up donuts against Lattimore. It's phenomenal what happens. You have a better shot of those two getting into a fist fight than Mike Evans does on having a blow up game against Lattimore. It's very wild. It's weird. I would play Lawrence and I would play Sutton.
Yeah, I so bad want to see Mike Evans here just because, and make that a homer call. But at the same time, I got to put on my goggles and be, legit about this. Mike Evans, he's a boomer bust, truly a boomer bust. He may only get 3 targets and 2 catches. One of them's going to be a touchdown, but he doesn't do it against Lattimore. And that's the problem. I want to say Evans, but it's got to be Sutton. As bad as that offense is in Denver, you got to go Sutton. And of course it's Lawrence. Lawrence is amazing. He's gonna blow Cousins out of the water this week.
I will say the Ravens secondary has been much better. And Marcus Peters typically does very well up against bigger. He does well up against bigger, more physical wide receiver. He's not
except
great
for last week. except for last week in the fourth quarter when it really mattered.
No,
They were
Marcus
horrible.
Peters is garbage.
Yeah, but
No,
Marcus Peters
he's
didn't play a
awful.
more physical wide receiver. That's the issue. Marcus Peters is
awful.
terrible, but he's a physical guy, right? It was like,
Wasn't he the defender on the Jones catch in the end zone? I
yeah,
thought
but
so.
Jones isn't
He
a
was
big
the
physical
defender.
guy.
He was the defender on 3 of the 4.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, he's trash.
There's a whole it's
trash.
a matchup issue because he's like James Bradbury, right? James Bradbury is a wide receiver 1
Mhm.
up against physical, like guys like AJ Brown. He's a wide receiver 1. You know, it's like LaShawn Lattimore up against Mike Evans. But LaShawn Lattimore cannot guard a Terry McLaurin player. He cannot guard somebody that's quicker and faster. Like when we talk about
Christian Kirk is a wide receiver 1 on Jacksonville.
Yeah,
but Chris Kirk plays out of the slot.
I know. I'm just busting your balls.
No, and it's not it's the physical build, right? It's the physical build that Marcus Peters succeeds against. Is actually a big, more physical guy like Sutton. Now, I'm not saying that I still am picking Sutton. I just wanted to bring that up. We don't need to discuss this anymore. Let's hop on to concerns about Staley.
I can show you the move that every receiver needs to know when facing Marcus Peters. I can demonstrate it for you right now. You want to see what it is? There it is. That's it.
Sutton doesn't have that.
If you do, he hold on. I'm pretty sure Sutton can go.
No,
That's it. That's all you got to do.
No, he can't. He can win a jump ball situation, and that's where Marcus Peters excels. Do we have concerns about Swift not being aggressive enough as a running back?
Yes.
No, that's coach speak. I don't care about that.
I don't care either. Staley is actually the best running back coach in the NFL, and I think he's doing fine. I think the biggest issue is Swift just needs to stay on the field.
He's just him and Campbell. They're like high T. We have to have maximum testosterone at all times.
I love Deuce Staley. I love Deuce Staley as a coach.
Sure.
The touchdown was it last week or the week before last, where you saw him, he got the ball on the 9, and it took 12 people, and there's only 11 on the field on defense, and he ran through all of them. I have no qualms about his toughness. He needs to stay on the field.
No, he said his anger, not his toughness.
If Swift didn't go down in the 1, if Swift didn't go down in the 1, completely different conversation with Deuce Staley this week.
All right, Kamara, Pierce, Aaron Jones, Jeff Wilson. You need 3. Oh man, this is gross. This is a gross one. Kamara has been brutal as of late. Pierce has been breaking down as of late. Jeff Wilson Jr. has a horrible matchup. Aaron Jones has to be a lock, I guess. And I still don't love his matchup, by the way. I just think that he has to be a lock just in comparison with the rest of the guys. Is there a number 1 lock, Thomas, for you?
I'm actually Pierce is my lock because it's Cleveland. So,
which is one of the worst teams in the league.
Exactly.
Against the running back. Yeah.
They are bootay cheeks against the run. So I'll actually lock in Pierce, and then I'm going to lock in Aaron Jones regardless of quarterback. And then next 2, it's Jeff Wilson and Kamara, and I'll take Kamara for the potential pass catching, even though he hasn't really been on that train. The potential is there every week for him. I am sitting Jeff Wilson out this week. That matchup is gnarly.
I do want to bring up the Dameon Pierce went from 27 carries down to 17 carries, down to 10 carries, to just 5 last week. So where you going with that, Jay?
Yeah, I'm right there with Thomas on this one. I want to sit Kamara just because of his matchup against the Bucs. The Bucs defense is very, very good against the run. They're not as great against the pass. And they've had some breakdowns in the back end, some injuries and that sort of thing. Can't keep players on the field on the back end. So maybe he would get something, in the passing game. But man, I'm leaving Jeff Wilson on the bench against San Francisco every time.
Wait, so Kamara over Jeff Wilson?
Yes. So I'm taking, my lock would be Aaron Jones, and I'm starting Pierce and Kamara to go with.
Yeah, I'm going Aaron Jones, Pierce, Kamara as well. Same story. I don't need to talk anymore about it. All right, let's see. Patrick, I appreciate this. I don't know if this is Dynasty or Redraft, so I'm going to go ahead and skip it. If you want to ask this again, ask the same exact question. Please put in if it's Dynasty or Redraft. If it's 2 quarterback, single quarterback, let us know. We'll answer it for you. Oh, I see Superflex League, 0.5 PPR. Let us know if it's Redraft or Dynasty. All right, pick 1 PPR, Curtis Samuel, Cordell Patterson, Kyron Williams, or DeAndre Carter. I have Herbert at quarterback. Thanks, fellas. All right. Once again, started to questions are tough, guys. Give us a trade question. Give us something else. We don't know enough. For me, I'm probably going Cordell Patterson at this point. Kyron Williams is a great matchup, by the way. The matchup that he has, I don't even remember who it's against. I just remember seeing this and seeing the matchup that he has is very advantageous against pass catching running backs, and they're very stout up front. So, God, who do the Rams have? I'm trying to remember. Seattle, yeah, they're very stout up front. Exactly. They're terrible up against pass catching running backs. Kyron Williams has been that, but I honestly don't know if I want to start anybody from the Rams, period, the end. Curtis Samuel, been decent, but I don't think anybody offers you the upside of Cordell Patterson. How do y'all feel about that?
Yeah, I would agree. I don't have much to add. Watch to see if Stafford's playing. If Stafford plays, play Kyron. Honestly.
Yeah, he's not expected to play. It came out a few hours ago.
Yeah, he didn't practice today, but pay attention. Like, watch.
McVay's like, I don't think he's going to play this week.
Okay, well, then that's fair enough. But, yeah, in that case, then I would play Patterson. I didn't see that McVay confirmed. I'm a fraud.
It was on Twitter a couple hours. It was lost in the sauce.
Hashtag fraud.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Patterson here, just to make it unanimous. I mean, they're going up against Pittsburgh this week, so
it's only a 42-point implied total, but Pittsburgh is also bad against the run, so it could be a perfect storm.
This is the question that I like in the midweek, segments, right? Is would you drop either James Robinson or Warren for Mason?
Yeah,
I have CMC. So I want to talk real quick. I wouldn't drop Warren for him. I think Warren's going to be a stud. James Robinson has a bonus in his contract to where if he hits a certain amount of, I think it's either carries or snaps, he gets paid a significant bonus. And so,
well, not only that, but the draft pick that the Jets will give up will bump too. So I think it was like a fourth, and if he gets to that threshold, it'll be a second, something along those lines.
Yeah, so I would drop James Robinson to answer the question, but why the hell would the Jets trade for a player if they were just like,
because he wasn't good enough because they knew he was trash.
Well, the other side of that coin too is
traded for him.
Yeah,
but they already had Michael Carter, right?
That's why I'm asking why. Like why?
As a insurance policy in case Michael Carter got hurt because they didn't believe in Knight. They didn't believe.
But Knight showed up, didn't he?
They didn't. Yeah, he did. He was amazing. He was incredible. But it took a healthy scratch James Robinson. They traded. They gave an opportunity to him, but he also doesn't play special teams.
But now Michael Carter is hurt. So is their insurance policy kicking in this week?
No, I think
an ankle sprain.
I think it's going to be the Bam show. If Michael Carter doesn't play, it's going to be the Bam show because they're not going to pay that second. They're not going to move it up to a second.
I'm taking Jacob's spot tonight. It's all Ty Johnson though.
The point is that CMC, he has CMC. You need the insurance policy. If CMC does not play, you might as well grab Mason and drop James Robinson because if these guys are all in waivers, then honestly, you probably have like either a smaller league doesn't pay attention as much. So James Robinson is worth a drop, and you can probably pick him up if there's a spike.
And I'm not dropping Warren for just any old backup. I'd rather have Warren as the backup.
Yeah,
as much as Najee's going.
He's a Steelers starter. You have to.
Yep.
By the way, Giovanni, if you're still listening, you're one of our favorite regulars in here. Keep coming in, keep bringing those questions. We really appreciate you. And we're happy that you're 8-4. Hopefully you pick up a trophy and you use promo code CIRCLE for your league. So that way you can get a free ring like you see over the left side of my shoulder with the purchase of a trophy or a belt. Use promo code CIRCLE. All right, let's go ahead and let's hop on to this last segment that we have where we talk about players that are sleepers, right? These guys that can actually go out and win you leagues. And we're looking at the quarterbacks who will finish outside the top 15 or who are ranked outside the top 15 that have a chance to finish inside the top 12. Gator J, you're kicking this one off, and you took a guy that I was contemplating between the guy that I took, and then I saw that you had him. So I was like, okay, I'll take the other guy. Who'd you take?
Yeah, I took this guy last week, and I'm going to take him again this week. He didn't have a great game, but he didn't have a horrible game. I'm taking Jimmy G. I think going up against this Miami secondary, he is going to be able to throw the ball with CMC having an injury, with Elijah Mitchell being out. I think it's prime opportunity for Jimmy G to put a stamp on the offense, but put a stamp on himself to put himself out there for this next year.
I bet you the 49ers wish they had a player like Jeff Wilson or a guy like Raheem Mostert, or maybe even JaMychal Hasty.
What's funny is I think they used
Trey Sermon's for the Eagles. Yeah.
Didn't they used to have a guy? Oh wait, it's those guys you just talked about. They had those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they gave him away for nothing.
It's a wide zone run scheme when you don't use big physical backs. Like this is what you get when you use these delicate backs and you try to run them in a wide zone run scheme because they get their ankles cut out from underneath them. You know, they deal with big hits. You're asking small guys to run straight and then cut up field. Like, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, it's bizarre how the 49ers have drafted these running backs, traded for these running backs who do not belong in this scheme.
TDP.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They belong in the scheme, but they belong in backups. They belong as specialized players in third and longs in the scheme. I took Marcus Mariota. I took Marcus Mariota because he's been borderline okay. He hasn't gotten you to the 200-yard mark in the passing game, but he has gotten you anywhere from 20 to 50 rushing yards. He's gotten you a touchdown. And now Marcus Mariota faces the Steelers, who, by the way, TJ Watt wasn't even existent last week. So if the Steelers can allow rushing yards, which they do to the quarterback, they can allow some passing yards, and Drake London can end up beating the defense, a couple of times. Zach Olame can end up getting open. Like, I feel like we could have a situation where Marcus Mariota is valued, but honestly, like this is one of the worst weeks I've ever seen at quarterback. I went through so many quarterbacks trying to find one outside the top 15 that I could actually be like, oh, I'm standing by this guy. And you know me, fantasy, like, you know me, Jay, like I get rock hard about a quarterback that is in the outside, like the top 20. I did not have one this week. And it's weird. I'm going to go with Marcus Mariota.
Yeah. The one thing I will say on that though, is the offensive line for Atlanta is a roller coaster. They played great against Tampa, a few weeks back, and then they go out there and throw duds and let everybody, Mariota got sacked 4 times in a game right after that. So that's a going up against TJ Watt, man. That's going to be a rough game, I think.
I mean, TJ Watt was non-existent last week, and I have no idea, by the way, why my camera is so
I can tell you why, because you're in a dream state right now. The fact that you couldn't find a quarterback low enough to get excited about. You hang 2 Lions jerseys behind you, and Jared Goff was sitting there staring you in the face, and you dogged him. What that is the dream state coming. Freddie's coming for you, and the claw this week is on Jared Goff's hand. He is going to dice Jacksonville.
That was great. Thomas, that was great. That was one of the best reads I've ever heard.
Yeah, we got it. He just cut a promo on your ass.
What's in here, brother? Let me tell you what's going to happen this week on Sunday.
Unfortunately, he didn't use the championship belt or anything like that. But
I did that earlier. You can't repeat a bit. Come on, it's not what we do in the business of show. But no, he's got such an opportunity this week against Jacksonville with again good targets. He's got one of the best receivers in the league. Like, the system works. He's at home. He has one of the highest implied point totals, right? It's coming together for a big Jared Goff week. Unfortunately, no JMO this week, which kind of sucks. It would have been nice to see, but I think he's going to have a really good game, especially that low. I would play him over some of the guys ranked higher on ESPN's list. Shout out ESPN for that list, but I would have him higher than Mariota. I would have him higher than some of the other guys.
Speaking of, did you happen to see the video of gym practice? And the dude that was recording goes, yeah, he's fast. He's fast. Yeah. He's still fast.
It kind of sucks that the Lions are starting to win because they could have had Stroud or one of these guys young at quarterback with Jameson running these routes and still had optional weapons like Amon-Ra St. Brown, had optional weapons such as DJ Chark, and then had Swift out of the backfield, and they would still be dominant. It's pretty insane. I'm
gonna say it. I probably shouldn't say it, especially out here where we have so many viewers that are watching. But watch out for Pennant out of Washington. That might be the sneaky 3rd round pick for Detroit right there. Instead of getting these
I was
top
going to go with
the guy from Notre Dame. Quarterback this year. They're not drafting a quarterback this year. They won't. Absolutely not. Why? Look. I want to. All right.
We're already 53 minutes.
No. I want to. Let me finish. All right. Can I finish?
You can finish.
Okay.
I guess she said you can finish, so you can finish.
A good team, right? Build from the trenches out, and if they're smart, they're going to continue. They had Sewell, then they went Hutchinson. They'll continue that, right? And I imagine Campbell wants to up his defense a little bit. And that 2024 draft class looks minty. Jared Goff is doing enough to keep you in games and your fans entertained so the owners make their money. but he's not good enough to keep you out of a good draft pick. And let me tell you, Caleb Williams, Quinn Ewers, and some others, looking mighty nice. Imagine Quinn Ewers in that offense, throwing to Amon-Ra St. Brown and then deep to JMO. I think we can't count on rational thinking, but the rational thing would be push it to 2024 and build in the trenches for Detroit. But that's just, it probably won't happen. They'll spend 3 picks to trade up to the number 1 pick or something stupid because NFL, but that's what I think Detroit should do.
All right. So we have the wide receiver or the running back position of players that will finish or that are ranked outside the top 20 that have a chance to finish inside the top 12. We'll start with you. Take your Rachaad White and take him home like you told us you would do earlier in the show.
Yeah, here's the thing with Rachaad White. You saw what he did in Germany, 100-yard game, rushing. It's the first 100-yard game that the Bucs have had all season. They're averaging somewhere around 70 yards or so rushing a game. Rachaad White threw down a 100-yard game. Last week against Cleveland, 9 for 9 in the receiving game. You can't ask for more than that. 9 targets alone. And not only that, but he's catching all 9 of them. So yeah, you're probably going to see Leonard Fournette back this week, or if not next week. But here's something I'm going to throw at you. Something that Nate is it? I can't remember how you say his last name. Yes, something he brought up on one of his podcasts that I mean, as soon as he said it, I was like, holy shit, that makes perfect sense. Rachaad White and Leonard Fournette are very, very similar as far as the backfield to Zeke Pollard.
I've been saying that.
You ain't said that to me. You ain't said it. You ain't said it to me. Anyway, so I as soon as he said it, I was like, well, hell yeah, that's perfect. As a Bucs fan, of course, too. But I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Leonard Fournette, the problem with Leonard Fournette right now is you can't keep him healthy. So the Bucs may turn around and just let him sit. Not sit the whole game, but they may just kind of keep him healthy, kind of like what we thought DeAndre Swift should have done. But, man, give me Rachaad White. Let's go for another. Let's get 6 targets, 6 catches, 85 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Let's go.
By the way, I was just kidding. I said that about the Pittsburgh Steelers backfield, but go ahead.
Yeah,
You have an inefficient running back in Najee Harris. You have Warren that's just waiting to come back, or waiting to take over the role, but it's never going to happen because they have their investment in with Najee Harris.
Chase, you're the reason why I have trust issues.
I just wanted to mess with Jay. I would never say that about it because Leonard Fournette's at the door. So, currently it's like that, but not for long-term purposes. All right. Antonio Gibson is who I'm taking up against the Giants. The Giants have struggled significantly up against the running back. I mean, they're literally just letting teams bleed up against them now. Daniel Jones isn't keeping the ball in the hands, and teams are just literally running this defense ragged because the offense can't produce. What we've seen is a giant opening for the Washington team, and although we have the rookie Brian Robinson getting the big hat as of late, Antonio Gibson is still the more efficient back overall and is involved in the pass game more so. So I'm taking Antonio Gibson over Brian Robinson up against the Giants. Did you want to throw one in, Thomas? Because you threw one in before.
Look, as I mentioned, I may not be Jacob, and my ability to read instructions may not be as quite impressive, but I didn't realize that it was a running back outside of the top 20. So I had Pierce at 17. However, remember that I am Jacob Sanderson today, and I will tell you that my pick is Ezekiel Elliott. Remember, Jacob Sanderson is personally suggesting that you play Ezekiel Elliott this week. It will be
Gator Jay. If you don't clip this, I'm going to be pissed.
Hang on. I'm going to stop him because as soon as he gets done with this, he needs to go fix his tight end because I am first on the tight end list as well. Go fix that as soon as you're done.
First off, sir, you're not my real dad, and you can't tell me what to do. Second,
that's getting clipped as well.
You can't tell me what to do. And second, I, Jacob Sanderson, am giving you permission to play Ezekiel Elliott this week because Indianapolis is kind of an absolute gong show currently, and all of the Pittsburgh Steelers starting running backs were able to do well. Meanwhile, the backup struggled by Najee. So I think you can play the Dallas Cowboys backup this week in hopes of a touchdown. He also ran more routes than Tony Pollard, even though he didn't see more targets. So I would play Zeke this week. Saying I would, being Jacob Sanderson.
All right, on to the wide receiver position. I'm going to go ahead and go with mine, Devonta Smith. Oh, by the way, Thomas, you also need to fix your wide receiver. I'm going to go with Devonta Smith up against Tennessee. Tennessee has been brutal up against.
I'm the guest. You guys go for yourself.
I'm going to go with Devonta Smith up against Tennessee. Tennessee has been allowing targets like crazy up against wide receiver position. That's nothing new. Meanwhile, teams can't run them against him. Devonta Smith is dealing with an injury right now, but people have pretty much given up on him. Meanwhile, I've seen 9, like 2 or 4 targets, and then 8 targets over the past 4 weeks. He's still seeing the targets. They just haven't been accurate targets. And that's a big reason as to why is because the team doesn't have to worry about Dallas Goedert. I think that Tennessee has a lot more to worry about on their secondary outside of Dallas Goedert. And I think that they will let Devonta Smith eat. I think that we're going to see 100 yards plus and a touchdown Devonta Smith up against Tennessee. So go ahead and take that over on whatever Devonta Smith's receiving yards are. I don't care if it's 101. You take it. Go with Devonta Smith.
Cool. Who's next? Am I supposed to go next? I'll go next.
You can go next. I see your answer's already in there.
All right, look, here's the thing. All right, I changed my answer not because they told me to. All right, I just want everyone to know that. I changed it over my own free will. But my answer is Tyler Lockett. He's a good bet. He's an inconsistent player. We've talked about Tyler Lockett all the time for as long as he's been in the league, being an inconsistent player. But the last 2 weeks, kind of down weeks, even against the Raiders, which is not great. But the Rams can be thrown on. It's been shown that it can happen, and all you need is one deep ball from Tyler Lockett. Geno Smith has been a savior for the 2022 depression that is the fantasy football season this year, and I think Tyler Lockett can do it. So let's go, Tyler Lockett. Lock it in.
Love it. I think the best part of the night is, you've been playing Chase all night until we get to the wide receiver tight end, and now you're going to play Shane. You're just going to try to do that.
I don't read the show sheet. What are you talking about?
Well, that's true. There is that. That's why
he's Shane.
I'm too busy striking out to read the show sheet, guys.
That's why you're Shane.
Something technology, something these kids today, something fuck your show sheet.
And you're not my dad.
Then yeah, you're not my real dad. You can't tell me what to do.
Awesome.
There you go.
So I'm gonna take Chris Olave for a lot of the reasons I said earlier. Up against that Bucs defense, they've had a lot of issues in the back end. But in week 2, again, this is his second NFL start. He had 13 targets in that game. So this I can see this being a 24-23 game. I could see it being a 42-40 game. And there's going to be a lot of targets that go around. The unfortunate part is New Orleans still has eeny, meeny, miny, mo at quarterback, but at least he's throwing the ball somewhat. So yeah, give me Chris Olave going for I'm gonna take Chris Olave getting a touchdown on 12 targets, 8 receptions.
All right, let's go ahead and hop on to the tight end position. Jason, go ahead and start us out, and then we'll get to the listener questions. Don't know if we have anybody else left in here after this rant, but
there's not much to say about the tight end position. It is
bad. It's like the quarterback position.
We've said this so many weeks in a row. It is a wasteland of people, and even going out there trying to find somebody outside the top 12. There's really nobody outside the top 3, top 4 right now.
Yeah, but normally we can find somebody like Foster Moreau's been in the past. We've had Harrison Bryant, we've had players that can squeeze in there. And this week just seems so desolate because a lot of the tight ends are coming back, and it just seems,
Yeah, so I'm taking a dart throw at the same guy I threw a dart at last week because of T-Law's great week last week. It just didn't happen with Evan Ingram. So I'm going to take Evan Ingram and just pray that I get something out of it this week.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and go with Juwan. No, I'm going to go with Noah Fant. All right. I was going to go with Juwan Johnson up against Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay has been very viable.
That was rude. That was rude. I'm just going to say that was rude because he just put, Thomas just put Noah Fant in there.
I'm going to go. Well, no. Sorry. I didn't see that. I'm going to go with Noah Fant. Noah Fant's known for his big plays, right? In his rookie year, or maybe it was his second year, he ended up having 36% of his yards come up against 3 different teams, right? 3 different games. 36% of his production. He's known for having big time plays. So no, up against the Rams, who are the kings of letting tight ends take games over. They're actually pretty good when they expect a tight end to do well, but when they don't expect a tight end to do well, that's the issue. And Noah Fant could be that guy. We don't know who's going to normally perform for the Seahawks, but I feel like Noah Fant is going to be that dude this week. I'm kind of going on a limb on this one just because I hate the landscape. If you want to go ahead, Thomas, and take Juwan Johnson, who's been very consistent, go ahead.
Here's the thing, Chase. I was prepared for your tomfoolery. So Noah Fant was nothing but a mirage. It was a trick, and you fell for it. All right? I don't need that. I'm playing Taysom Hill. You know why? Because he's the tight end 13 in points per game, and the man has 5 receptions. He could throw a touchdown. He could rush for a touchdown. He could catch a touchdown. Hell, he could block a punt for a touchdown. He's not really good at anything, but there's something that keeps him on the field. And all you need, if you're this desperate for a tight end at this point, just play Taysom Hill every single week. It's either going to work or it's not. Doesn't matter, because you're either going to get 6 to 0 points from guys like Noah Fant, or you're going to get 30 points from Taysom Hill, where you can get 8 points from Noah Fant and be happy. So just play Taysom Hill and be prepared for a 0. We want highest scale possible,
You would say that.
right? High risk tolerance. That's how we play, and it's Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill for 30. Book
Not
it,
against
count it.
Tampa. Stop.
Don't care.
Not against
Don't care.
Tampa.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. White lightning can strike at any time. All right, remember that.
Hey, listen, I appreciate it for tuning in, right? We had a killer show. This is awesome. We had a ton of questions come in. If you have any more questions, go ahead and ask it to us over there on Twitter. You guys can ask us at Thomas Tipple FF. Ask us at FantasyJ77. You can still leave it in the chat after the show ends, right? Or you can leave it on my Twitter at FF_intervention. That way we make sure we get back to you. If you guys want to win your championship, go ahead and do it. Just do it. And then once you win, go ahead and purchase a trophy to make sure everybody knows how magnificent you are, right? You can bring it to your wedding. You can bring it to your funeral. You can bring it to your, I don't know, your child's, what is that called? The thing where you, the baptism, right? Bring it to the kid's baptism and go ahead and make sure they're dunked with it, because that way they come up as a champion. You guys can head over to trophysmack.com, purchase a trophy or a belt. And you will actually, if you use promo code CIRCLE, you'll get a free ring along with that. So that way you can leave your child with something memorable, because obviously you're getting buried. Since you're bringing it to your funeral, you're getting buried with that trophy or with that championship belt. Meanwhile, you leave your kid with something to remember you by with the championship.
May I be blessed with your fantasy football decisions.
We appreciate you guys for tuning in and tuning out. And thank you all for letting us interview with your fantasy football life. We done, son.